Hey guys, I'm going to talk you through these notes that I made last year after my classes wrote to the same prompt that you guys are going to write to tomorrow on Thursday in class. So you're getting to benefit from a few mistakes that they made. Most of these suggestions are going to apply for some of it any literary analysis period, but specifically any question 3 essay prompt. Make sure that you identify the title of the work that you're discussing in your intro. The same would go for the author. You should introduce the author by first and last name, and the title of the work, which is underlined because it's the title of a major work. All question 3 works are major works because you're going to choose a play or a novel. So underline those titles. Go ahead and introduce the overall meaning in your introduction. I see a lot of question 3 essays that don't do this. So don't write, it reveals an idea, a theme, a meaning, etc. What is that idea? What is that theme? What is that meaning? And be aware of what type of work you're discussing. This sounds elementary, and it is, but know if you're writing about a novel or if you're writing about a play. Don't call a play a novel or a novel a short story, or anything like that. I wrote this next suggestion 3 times. Avoid second person, avoid second person, avoid second person. So instead of writing, be careful who you trust and follow because you might be led astray, you would write, people should be careful who they trust and follow because they might be led astray. Remember that your audience is AP readers, and so you don't want to sound like you're preaching to them at all. And also, one is usually awkward, as in one should be careful who they trust, and then that also creates subject-verb agreement. So generally, I'm going to advise you to avoid using one as your pronoun, or at least don't overuse it if you're tempted. Stylistically, avoiding passive voice helps the voice of your writing sound more assertive. So try to use it. We've talked about this before. So instead of writing, it can be argued, just go ahead and be bold and say what you mean. Here's an example. Lady Macbeth's character illustrates. So notice how that's putting it in the active voice. And it sounds like you are, taking responsibility for your ideas and asserting them strongly. Pay attention to your subject-verb agreement. I don't really have a specific example from last year's papers on this one, but if your subject is singular, then you want to use that singular verb form. Same if your subject is plural, then use the plural verb form. Write in the literary present, and I know that we've talked about this quite a bit, but don't slip back into that past tense when you're writing about literature. If you're talking about what Lady Macbeth did in the play, you want to write about it in the present tense, such as Lady Macbeth manipulates Macbeth throughout the play. I wrote Shakespeare because I noticed many people misspelling Shakespeare's name, and we don't want to do that because it makes us look a lot more educated if we spell it correctly, so a lot of people left that final E off. The setting of Macbeth is 11th century Scotland, and I guess we didn't really talk about that specifically, but if you're going to mention the setting, that's what you should mention. I think I've noticed in the past people writing about Shakespeare's plays as if they're all written during the Renaissance. They're, all written in all set, in the Elizabethan age, which they're not. So this one does happen in England in portions, but mainly 11th century Scotland. Here are some suggestions as to how to get to overall meaning and avoid plot summary, because that's definitely something that you want to do. So consider these questions as you're composing. What do you think the author is saying about the actions of the character? And what do you think the plot events and character motives and actions reveal about meaning? These will be easy questions to ask yourself as you're quickly outlining your ideas before you start composing your essay. And then explore those ideas further for a more complete analysis. So look deeper into those character motivations. And how do you know that? How did the author reveal that to us in the work? Where does this character go with the motivation? And what effect does all of this have on that character and on others? And this will help you, I hope, to avoid that plot summary. Theme is not is going to be a full sentence, not just a couple of words. So the theme of Macbeth isn't the desire for power and dominance. That's the theme idea, but a thematic statement is going to include what Shakespeare says about this power this desire for power and dominance. Here are a couple of random thoughts that are mostly stylistic too, but I think it just elevates the style of your writing because we're looking for that sophistication. So write who instead of that when you refer to a person. Lady Macbeth is a person that tries to manipulate those around her for her own gain. Instead, just write Lady Macbeth is a person who tries to manipulate. And avoid writing the pronoun this by itself because it can be vague. So follow it with a noun, this action, this idea, because otherwise it will sound vague in your writing. And lastly, I'm not saying this is an easy process because I think it is extremely difficult to write a really good, strong essay in 40 minutes. But I think you guys have a lot of the tools that you need at this point to continue improving your analysis style and use those tools tomorrow in class.